Hey, hi, how are you? Good, I hope. Now, here's the question. Have you ever been on an inspection and things started to go south real quick? In fact, they started swirling the drain partway through, and you ended up being so distracted from finishing or delayed so badly you either had to rush or didn't complete your inspection. Now, what happened is you likely fell into one of the traps that I want to talk about, okay, that I want to warn you about, the top 5 workplace safety inspection traps that you need to avoid. Now, I also want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if you've been hit by some of these pitfalls. Let me know if you've had your inspection tanked by one or more of these 5 traps. So let's start with number 5 on the list. Oh yeah, these are from the least impactful to the worst impactful. Least to worst? Yeah. In fact, number 1 will be the worst possible trap that you could fall into. So let's continue. Number 5. Number 5 is what I call, look, I have real work to do here. Now, by this, I mean when you're trying to engage the people, the workers doing the work, and wanting to ask questions or to get feedback from them, or even have them demonstrate safe work procedures, and they either, well, they ignore you, or they outright tell you, huh? What's that? No, look, honest, I don't have time for this. Well, okay, look, here. Satisfied? Honestly, I don't have time for this. Yeah, they don't have time for your BS. They actually, and you kiss your mother with that mouth? Anyway, they actually have real work to do, or whatever. And you know what? The trap is sprung. And what that means is you go along with it. You just say, okay, and you walk away. You can't. So what do you do? Well, first off, you have to remind them it's not you doing this on a whim. You're not just killing time and a make work project. You're actually working, you're fulfilling the employer's legislated obligations to ensure a healthy and safe workplace. Now, the employer needs to ensure safe work procedures actually work and the workers are using them. And so the big and here is you have to explain that to them. And you have to understand that their time is valuable. So explain it quick, get the point across quick. Don't waste the person's time. And if you still get the cold shoulder, well, let them know. No problem. I'll just note it on my inspection report. Having said that, I'm pretty sure that you won't have to pull out the big guns. You know, make veiled threats. Most workers will want to show off their skills, and they just need to be prompted in the right way. Sometimes you have to pander to that. But either way, you can't get sucked into the trap. There needs to be a verification that the controls are present and being used correctly. Sometimes it takes a little humility and schmoozing on your part.
Don't lose it, just schmooze it.
Diplomacy is a big part of what we need to do what we need to do. Now, this brings me to number 4. The number 4 trap I call, okay, who's going to pay for this? I'm pretty sure that all of you have heard this at one time or another. You've likely come across this. If so, do me a favor, leave me a comment down below. I want to hear from you. And you might identify with it when I explain some more, and you might understand what I'm talking about. But you know, you're conducting an inspection, you come across a piece of equipment or a machine or a tool that's being used without working safeguards, or they're broken and malfunctioning. Regardless, you can't let a hazardous, dangerous situation continue to play out. You can't. But the trap gets sprung. Who's going to pay for this? I don't have the money to fix this.
Time is money, my friend.
Yeah, time is money. Some other equivalent excuse that you're going to have to fill in the blanks for. And we've all heard them. So what do you do? Well, once again, this isn't on you. In fact, you're not necessarily the messenger. Well, okay, maybe you are. It's the legislation. Employers are required to implement and maintain controls necessary to either eliminate or significantly reduce the hazard or hazards so that work can continue safely. So this is actually another test in your diplomacy. You're not the one that has to come up with the money to fix whatever needs to be fixed, so don't get sucked into that trap. Your job is to point out the deficiencies and recommend the corrective actions. You also, of course, might end up falling into trap number 1 as a result. So you want to stick around because trap number 1 is pretty important.
You should stick around.
But in the meantime, let's get back to fixing things. And well, actually, that takes me to number 3. When can we get this fixed? Man, I wish I had a $20 bill for every time I was on an inspection, somebody complained about a burnt out light, the temperature in the room, or how their office chair is uncomfortable, and when am I going to fix it? This trap is a bit sneaky, okay? Because those burnt out lights might actually be affecting the lighting and actually be a safety issue. Or the temperature in the room is affecting how the workers are performing their tasks. Maybe in such a way, also, the chair is an issue. It's not permitting the worker to maintain good posture while they're working at their desk. So, what do? Well, you need to check out each claim. You also have to be prepared to state the facts. It might just be a burnt out light that needs a maintenance request. Or the temperature might actually be within reasonable parameters. And the chair, well, as crappy and low rent as it might be, it might just need to be adjusted. But each case needs to be verified as bona fide, and the workers making the claims need to be vindicated. And sometimes those unsafe claims, well, actually they take me to number 2, which is aesthetics over safety. And what I mean by this is the claims of things being unsafe because, well, they just aren't pretty. And this is that unique phenomenon where you're trying to do an inspection and the workers are complaining about a wrinkle in the carpet, maybe even a bit of torn carpet or torn linoleum or a chipped piece of linoleum, a dent in the wall, maybe even a small hole in the wall, missing light diffusers, etc. You know what? In fact, the list is endless. And if you've got an example that I haven't mentioned, do me a favor, leave a comment because sometimes they're kind of humorous. It's also usually difficult because these folks are going to be adamant about their claims. But you're going to need to stand your ground. You're going to have to use logic, the legislation, establish standards, your own policies, procedures. And you also have another out, one that I've mentioned quite frequently. And as an alternative, if the worker doesn't like what you say, they can submit their claim to the Health and Safety Committee. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not standing your ground. Facts are facts. However, you don't need to stand there and slap the crap out of someone with your facts. All it's going to do is cause hard feelings. There's got to be balance. So submit the claim to the Health and Safety Committee, and worst case scenario, the Health and Safety Committee rules in favor of the worker, but it's still not your job. Remember the previous point? You don't have to pay for it. And this takes me to number 1. Number 1 is, I don't want to be a meanie. Forgive me for that, but it's the truth. This is the deepest and worst of all of the traps. And, well, it's because you're causing it. You want to fit in. You want to be a hit with your coworkers. You want to be one of the guys or one of the gals. So you let things slip. Don't worry about using safety glasses. I know they fog up. Or be careful with that angle grinder. You know, it really could use a guard, but just keep the sparks away from your face. You don't stop the work and you don't address stuff because, well, you don't want to make waves. You want to be everybody's friend or buddy. You're afraid of pushing back on that manager or supervisor with a lot of influence because, well, it might get you fired. So, what am I saying here? No, you don't have to be pushy when someone doesn't want to demonstrate how they're going to perform a task, or they don't want to accept a corrective action, or how to fund a corrective action, or that maintenance inspections can't coincide with hazard and safety inspections. Not at all. Or I'm not saying that the appearance of the workplace doesn't matter. No, I'm not saying those things. But what you need to do is stand your ground when it comes to ensuring that workers are performing their tasks safely, which is the purpose behind safety inspections. And if they don't want to show you something, fine, document it. But you also have to make yourself available to help to figure out how to fix dangerous situations. You may have solutions. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to fund it, but you should be there to help to figure out the solutions. And yes, scheduling maintenance inspections and improvement inspections alongside safety inspections are fine, as long as you keep sight of the priority, which is focusing on hazards and controls. You have to remember that you got hired to be a safety professional, so be the safety professional. You need to be a diplomat, a mediator, an ambassador for safety, and above all, empathetic to the needs of the workers that you're interacting with. We are a different type, a different breed. We're set apart from most normal folks. If you don't believe me, have a look at this video over here. You might get what I'm talking about. Now, until we see each other again, do me a favor, be a leader, be an influencer. It's all about safety leadership and provoking safety. Okay? Take care. Bye for now.